I'm reviewing here today a new brand I've not covered before, Samebike. This model is their RSA02. It's a foldable fat wheel e-bike that's got a lot of power. This rear hub motor, 1200 watts, and it outputs a maximum of 100 Newton meters of torque. That is a lot for an e-bike, and it can propel us up to 45 kilometers per hour, which is fast too for a 20-inch style fat wheeled e-bike like this. The tires, they are from Kenda, so we've got brand tires, and our brakes, which are from Semi-Log. Now, these ones are a little bit better than what we normally typically see. In fact, the best when it comes to braking performance out of a fat wheel e-bike that I've tested so far. The front hydraulic disc brake, this is 203 millimeters, so it's got a lot of braking performance there, but the caliper has 4 pistons, same with the one on the rear. Now, the rear brake diameter is 160 millimeters, but the combination of both of them gives some really great performance, as you see later in this video. So the battery, which is 17 amp hours, it's a 48 volt battery. It's located here in the frame. This is where it folds. We've got quite a strong mechanism here. There's the lock, and I'll show you that later in the video. It takes about 5 to 6 hours to fully charge that battery. And they claim, Samebike, that in just electric mode, so using this as really just a motorcycle with the throttle here, or like a moped, you can get up to 60 to 65 kilometers. It's quite a lot. And if you pedal them, we've got the 5 pedal assist levels, a range of up to 130 kilometers, which seems quite a lot. I think a little bit over-exaggerated there, but of course I'll be testing that out. So the front shock looks like it has a lot of travel. It does not. It's about 60 to 55 millimeters. You can see where the grease mark is, and I've been going down a lot of drops and some rough ground here at the moment. Rear shock, that's even less. You can see the grease mark just, and it's, quite poor. That's about 10, 15 millimeters. That's it, not a lot. So we get these alloy pedals, pretty straightforward. Seen a lot of models that are very similar to this. They are not a brand of pedal at all. The shock brand, well, this is HLT, reasonably cheap kind of shock. It's better than nothing, don't get me wrong, but I wish we had slightly better shocks with this bike. Frame quality, excellent. Welds look very good. Speed sensor right here, not a torque sensor. And the Kenda tires, off-road tread pattern, they are very poor when it comes to rolling resistance for this type of tire. This is normal, but I do like that they make a bit of noise, actually. And then that rear hub motor that I was talking about. It is a large, powerful motor, 1200 watts, up to 100 Newton meters of torque. We've got a 160 millimeter rear disc brake, and the kickstand supports the bike's 38 kilos well. So it's a very heavy bike. A 2-stage brake light. So this, when you brake, you'll see it come on, and during the night, now you can see from my testing of it, it's a reasonably safe and bright tail light. I do like it. And having a bike rack is a nice option that you can put a pack on the back of this, which I've been doing. So we get a quick release with the seat post. That's it. There's no other quick release at all. A synthetic style seat leather here, and it's nice and comfortable, wide, spongy. The welds in the fold look very good. I'll show you that shortly, where the battery is located and how the bike looks when it's folded up. Handlebar does not fold down, so it is only the bike that folds in half there. So we have here a horn, reasonably loud, up and down the pedal assist levels. This is to go through the modes of the computer. That's to turn on the lights, so the headlight, the tail light, on and off right here. And they're using lock grips. This is great, so they don't spin around. A lot of brands are not bothering with lock grips, and it's good to see that Samebike has here. The levers feel very good, being hydraulic. And our standard entry-level shifter here from Shimano, 7-speed. And this is to go up and then down the gears. This is our throttle, so you press down on this. As soon as you're in any pedal assist, the bike will take off, so you've got to be careful with that. And our screen, which is a color display. It's nice and clear. You can see there your speed clearly, the pedal assist level. Battery gauge is a little bit all over the place because it's based off voltage. So when you go up a very steep climb, I saw this drop down to 3 bars, but then the voltage comes back, and so does the gauge too as well. So it's not super accurate. And our suspension, yes, you can adjust the compression with it, which is good. And if you loosen this off, you can bring that handlebar a little bit closer to you. Riding position is quite upright with the bike. The chain ring here at the front has a protector around it. We have a chain that is painted, so that's supposed to be to combat the rust there. Standard setup, and we have entry level there, turny TZ. Nothing amazing, 7-speed setup, and it seems to work well. And we've got a protector here for the derailleur, just to stop it from getting knocked around, probably more when it's in the box in transit. So the alignment, everything seems to be good there. And notice that with these Kenda tires, they do have this reflective strip around them, which is great for safety. Front headlight, this is rather nice. I've seen this model before, and it's got Samebike there. You can see in the middle, it's bright. Now, you can't really see it that well during the day, but at nighttime, this is a very good light. It gives a good amount of coverage, lights up the road ahead of you so you can see where you're going. So that's good for safety. Great lighting with our RSA02. You would have probably noticed that I've got the key in the bike, and you have to have it here because you need to put it in what is like an on ignition position. So when you turn it, the key, and then later on you go to unlock it and then remove it, that's going to power off the bike completely. Now the latch mechanism here has that little security on it. So it's to make sure that this lever is never going to pop out, and not that it would actually happen. So you push that forward, and then you pull on it. It's not too difficult to do. It then opens, and you can then part the bike in half, which I'll show you now. Now you'll notice here, this is the locking point for that battery. So no one can go along and just steal that. If you turn it, put it into the lock position, and you can remove the key. So it's locked there, it's safe, can't be removed. So this is what it looks like when you fold it up completely. And the handlebar, that doesn't fold down at all. You could loosen off those screws there and drop it down if you wanted to, and you could remove the seat to make it a bit more compact. So it won't fold down as much as other bikes with the foldable handlebar, but at least you can make it half the length. And this allows you then to, say, store it away under a stairwell, or just make it a bit more compact, maybe to fit in a larger trunk or boot of a car. So we finally get a little bit of winter style weather here. I mean, it's overcast, but it's not really that cold here, and it is almost January. So what is our Samebike RSA02 like to ride? Well, what I like about the bike is I think it's very practical having, of course, this bike rack on the back of it. So I like this. You can put a bag on the back here, and it gets it off your shoulders, makes you ride a little bit more comfortable. And that's going to be great in summer, so you don't get a sweaty back having a backpack on your back there. The kickstand working well, no problems with that at all. Now, the thing you notice about this bike is the weight of it. It's 38 kilos. It's very heavy because of the reinforcing there with the foldable hinge. That's pretty normal there. And it does have the additional suspension, the larger front 213 millimeter brake gives amazing brake performance, but of course that is going to add to our weight. Now you got the push down thumb style throttle that I showed you before, and then the speed sensor. So I've got it in pedal assist level 1 at the moment, and when I start to pedal, it takes maybe about a quarter of a turn, half a turn, and that speed sensor then kicks into action, delivers the power. Now this motor, very powerful, that 1200 watts. You do hear it. It's not a quiet motor. It's a little bit noisier than others. That's one thing I've noticed. And in cruising along here with full suspension, spongy fat tires on a very smooth bike lane, well, it is really nice. Now, one thing I have noticed too is the battery that I showed you before located in the frame here, it occasionally rattles. I would probably put some little shims or something in there to try and stop any movement, any play in that, to stop that rattling noise that you will sometimes hear, especially when I go over rougher areas. So the bike doesn't even require you to pedal. You can just press down, of course, on the throttle, and away we go with the 1200 watt motor with 100 Newton meters of torque. 1,000 would be crazy. I can easily get up to 40 kilometers per hour. Now there's a few people around, cars here, so I need to take it a little bit easier, but it will go up to a top speed of 45 kilometers per hour, which is very good. And it's all because it has that powerful 1200 watt motor. Climb test now, so there are no surprises here with our Samebike RSA02. With that 1200 watt motor, up to 100 Newton meters of torque. Now, I'm pedaling, and it's just rocketing up this. Not a problem at all for that powerful motor. You can hear it. I can stop pedaling now and just use the throttle. Now, doing so a little slower. I'm at 14 kilometers per hour with this 20-degree climb, but I'll start pedaling now, and I can gain speed. So I'm now at 17, 18 kilometers here. Absolutely effortless, just going up this. I'm probably only putting in, I would estimate, 20% effort, and the rest of that, 80%, the bike is doing all that. It's a great climbing performance. It just rockets up these climbs. So I am continuing my ride up now to go right up to the top of this climb, just to check to see whether the motor or the controller is going to overheat with a long continuous climb. I hope not, and I'm pretty sure it should be fine, but we'll find out, because this is a couple of kilometers here, constant climbing. So I got up to the mountain here, the climb, no problems at all. And now with a little bit of rough terrain here, some technical bits, a lot of rocks about. These spongy fat tires do handle this quite well. The front suspension I can feel a little bit, certainly helping out. And then let's see how it handles going up a rough, rocky trail here. Again, with the fat tires, definitely doing quite a bit of the work. More bumpy with the 20-inch size wheels. And that's about as far as I'm going to go here, I think. Oh no, it's still going. You just got to try and keep that momentum going, get your weight forward a little bit. And because of the powerful motor, I'm able to do this and climb up a very rocky trail. So this bike's got really good brakes. 160mm at the rear, 203 at the front from the white post. Full on braking, and I'm well before this post here, so this is well above average braking performance. It is really good with this brake because they really bite, these calipers. Being the 4-piston setup, larger front brake, you do notice this, and it has the best braking performance. A bit squeaky, the front brake, but the best braking performance I've come across in a fat-wheeled e-bike. Very good brakes. I just need to check the alignment of that front caliper because it sounds like it is rubbing a little bit. Then the range. So what am I getting? Every time I lose one battery bar, I cover normally about 13, 14 kilometers. So I don't see it being possible at all. And this is me riding with it limited to 25 kilometers per hour. To be able to get 130 kilometers range just seems unachievable. I don't know how they managed to do that. Perhaps they have a very light rider and they're riding around just in circles on a circuit with no wind, very smooth surface, and just using pedal assist level 1. And even then, I think it might be difficult out of a 17 amp hour battery. So the range being about 50 something to 60 kilometers isn't too bad if you're pedaling a lot for this style of bike. It puts it on par really with others. Now, if you're just going to be using the throttle and you're not going to be pedaling, then that range is probably going to be about 25 kilometers that I've worked out, around 20, 25. It depends, again, if you've got a lot of climbs, how much you weigh is another factor. So that motor in the rear, very, very powerful. Climbing performance is fantastic with this bike. It just rockets up those climbs. I got myself up here into the mountains with a very long, steep climb. That did not cause the motor to overheat at all. The controller was fine. It didn't run into any performance loss or any problems, which has happened in the past with some other brands. So it's 100 Newton meters of torque, peak output, just rockets you up. You just get pushed along. It's fantastic, really good. Another thing that is really good is the braking performance. So I showed you before, the front brake is 203 millimeters, larger than normal. We don't typically see that. Normally brands will top out at 180 millimeter with this style of bike, that is. And then the 4-piston calipers, front and rear, giving a lot of braking bite there. So they really bite onto those discs, larger disc, and then the 160 millimeter on the back, combined with some very grippy tires from Kenda. Braking performance is the best that I've seen yet. The downside to the bike is the obvious one, that it is, well, it's not super large compared to some of the others I've reviewed, but it is heavy, very heavy. This is 38 kilos. So it's not a bike that you want to have to lift up a flight of stairs or anything like that. That's the big one. The other is the price. It's a little more than some of the other foldable 20-inch fat wheeled e-bikes that I've reviewed. It's 1,600 euros. So that puts it around 200, 300 more than the competition for similar kind of bikes. However, you get the better brand tires, you get the better brakes, you get a lot more powerful motor, faster top speed. So in a way, it's kind of fair there, but yeah, they're a little bit more pricey than others. So that is it there, the Samebike RSA02. Thanks a lot for watching this review.